Good evening, friends, and we are back on the third session of Life of a Toastmaster, a podcast show that tells us that Toastmasters are normal people like everyone. But these renowned Toastmasters have chosen a journey of self-improvement, a journey that never ends. You know me by now. I am Hazel D'Souza, your host from Mace Springs Toastmasters Club. Today we have with us a humorous personality, a very good friend of mine. To the world he's known as Madhusudan Reddy, but to all of us he's just Madhu. The person who everyone loves to speak to and listen to, only because he's calm as the ocean, a very patient and a very understanding man. A mechanical engineer and a banker by profession, he works at the National Bank of Kuwait, one of the top banks in the country. He previously has worked in one of the top 4 MNCs of that time and moved to Kuwait by mid-2010. He hails from Hyderabad, Telangana, and had very humble beginnings. In NBK, he has moved around in several departments within NBK: IT, retail banking, internal audit, and now he works in the Treasury as an Assistant Vice President in Asset Liability Management. He's blessed with a wonderful wife and 2 lovely daughters. They love to watch movies together as a family. He's a big foodie, and his Toastmasters journey started in the year 2017, only because of the free food offered in Toastmasters. He's been part of Mace Springs Toastmasters Club for the last 8 years and has taken up every role in the club executive committee. Toastmasters is a place where he finds peace, and he doesn't have to think much about everything. His notable achievements are: he was the first place winner in Mace Springs' signature event, their Tall Tales contest, and he has won several accolades in the annual speech contest for humorous, evaluation, and table topic speech contest. Friends, please help me welcome our active and the most helpful member of Mace Springs Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Madhusudan Reddy.
Thank you, Hazel, for inviting me onto the show. It's a privilege. Thank you for having me.
We are really honored to have you, Madhu, in our presence. So, Madhu, wow, you worked in NBK for 8 years. You had humble beginnings, you said. So, how did you come to Kuwait? How did you reach National Bank of Kuwait?
So I think it's pretty much the same story for most people. I started my job in a company called Satyam back in the days, which was one of the top 4 MNCs back in the day. And 3 years into the job, I had to get married. And with marriage comes additional responsibilities. And we were also, as a family, going through some financial troubles. So then I said, I have to change gears. I need to ensure that I earn a bit more to be able to manage the family. And I floated my resume across to different consultancies. And luck has it, and by God's grace, there was one consultancy working for NBK trying to recruit some people for IT. And my resume was a match. And that brought me to Kuwait, NBK, in the year 2010. That's how it all started.
That's really nice. And could you tell us more about your job, your profile as the Assistant Vice President in the ALM?
Sure. ALM is nothing but it's asset liability management. So at the end of the day, bank has to manage the money it takes from the customers and the money it deploys as loans and other assets, right? So basically, it's about managing these liabilities and assets. That's what we do. We ensure that we as a bank follow some guidelines and ensure we adhere to CBK ratios, something to do with liquidity. I know it's very technical, but eventually taking the deposits we take, giving the loans we give, how to maximize profit is what we look at as asset liability management. We are basically a risk team managing treasury within NBK.
we've also heard some good news about you, that you've completed your CFA Level 1. Congratulations. What a fabulous
you.
achievement. And how did you manage to this difficult task? Because I know that CFA is not easy for many. Since you are working and you're a family man and you have so many commitments, how did you balance studying for this exam?
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, definitely CFA is a difficult thing to do. Basically, the certification itself is difficult, and what made it even more difficult is that this is not my line of work. I'm more of a IT data analyst kind of a role, and because I moved into Treasury, I started hearing a lot of jargon, which is mostly finance related. And I know a lot of people at work have done CFA. There is a person who is already doing CFA. So with all of this going, I was motivated to do CFA as well. That's how it all started a year back. Finally, I made my decision because I had an option to do two of them. One is CFA and the other one is FRM. But eventually, I decided on CFA and started. Now, how do I get time? Is unfortunately I don't get much time like every one of us. But I'm trying to make time. I stay back at work like an extra 1.5 hours. I get up early in the morning. I study sometimes when my kids go to bed. But thankfully, God has been kind, and I'm somehow able to dedicate some time to CFA.
Thank you for sharing that with us, and I'm sure it will be an inspiration for all those who want to study while they're working. So Madhu, we've heard that your wife is a great cook and has her own YouTube channel, and I've seen it personally. And for those who don't know, Madhu's wife really makes lovely tea. It's even better than the karak chai in Kuwait. So Madhu, how do you support her towards her dreams?
So thank you for appreciating what she does. And I would say she's one of the best cooks I know. She does everything with a lot of passion. She likes what she does, and that shows. And obviously with a lot of love. So she's definitely one of the best cooks I know. And in terms of our YouTube channel, yes, we do have a YouTube channel. However, of late we have not been updating it. It's called Rajni Vantilu. And I try to do some editing for her. In terms of our dreams, we do a lot of things together in terms of planning for her future, planning for her financial security, trying to give her some guidelines on books she can read, stuff like that. But I would say overall, since it's a platform where it's open to public, I would say I'm really lucky to have her in my life.
Yeah, and I'm sure since you're a foodie, you're even more luckier because you can get the best food.
Exactly. The best food in Kuwait at my place, actually.
Okay, now getting back to Toastmasters. The time you joined Mace Springs, that was the year 2017. So during that time, there were many Toastmaster clubs in and around Salmiya. So why did you join Mace Springs Toastmasters Club? What was special about Mace Springs?
Okay, so there were two things. First thing was it was very close to my place, right? I was thinking, okay, if I have to go there every now and then, it will be easier for me to join first. And second thing, the moment I went there, leave about the speeches and everything else, the food served during the break was wonderful because there were a lot of people who used to bring cooked food from home, right? Unlike now where we order a lot of things. So I used to really relish the food. So most of the meetings, not most of the meeting, I would say that will be exaggeration, but at least first couple of weeks, I purely came in for food. And then Toastmasters got onto me.
I'm sure, because even when I joined in the year 2018, I felt that many people, including the senior Toastmasters like Priya and all of them, were making something or the other and offering us. So a very homely atmosphere.
True.
So the Toastmasters educational program is divided into two tracks. This is for the viewers. So one is a communication track and a leadership track. Both of them are equally important for our development. And Madhu, you've served the club in various club officer positions as treasurer, VP education, president. So what skills have you gained from these leadership positions and how it has helped you in your workplace?
Right. So first thing I would like to clarify, I'm not a people manager at work. However, how this has helped me is how to actually deal with people. Back in the day when I was not a Toastmaster, I would still communicate, I will still speak to people, but then I never could touch them personally. Now I know what to speak, what not to speak, when not to speak, etc. etc. That's in terms of communication. But in terms of leadership, there are a couple of things which I learned. One is that you need to motivate people, right? So even though I don't have anybody reporting to me currently or even previously, I always get to a point where I had to deliver a lot of stuff, and doing all of this alone is very difficult. So how do I motivate people to help me out with the existing task I have is something which I learned from Toastmasters, especially Toastmasters, because Toastmasters is a non-profit organization. Nobody gets financial benefits from Toastmasters. But as a president or as a VP education, how do you convince people to take up roles to improve their English, etc., is what I've learned from Toastmasters. So the same thing is clearly applicable in real world as well. Now, second thing, what I noticed is that it helps you clear your mind, right? So I've transitioned from a lot of different roles within the bank, and one thing which has always supported me is my Toastmasters experience. What to talk when I have to transfer, what am I looking at life, it gives you clarity as to what has to be done. So that's what Toastmasters has given me.
So all of us are really privileged to be a part of Toastmasters.
Definitely.
Mace Springs is celebrating their 13th anniversary. It just came to my mind that we just celebrated 2 years ago our 10th anniversary, Tall Tales.
True.
And 3 years
True.
ago, sorry. And what fond memories of the club you have when you first joined the club? Any names of pioneers that you like to mention who have been very supportive and instrumental in your growth?
Yeah, actually, there were a couple of people. Specifically speaking, we had DTM Gayatri, who was very instrumental actually, because initially when I never wanted to speak on stage, she was the one who would push me for table topics. She was the one who would call me after a meeting is done and say, you could do this better, you could do that better. I never got any kind of, I never got these kind of feedback outside. Like when you're at work, all they want is to ensure you deliver on your tasks, right? But then here in Toastmasters, what I observed is they give you feedback, like DTM Gayatri. And there are a couple of other people like DTM Priya Chechi, God bless her soul, and Fasila and DTM Noor. These, I think, were the most important people I have dealt with, and I still remember the things which they have shared with me.
Thank you for sharing. And it's as you speak, so many memories come to my mind of all these pioneers, because the same people have also encouraged me and motivated me. So thank you to all the pioneers.
Not that the existing members did not, but then I am just talking about the people who were in the first year.
Yeah, they were the ones who were there during our
true.
time. Of course, now they are
Exactly.
in their different walks of life. Priya has left and Gayatri is in India, but still, they are from there itself. They are motivating all of us. So I really am very grateful to each one of them. So Madhu, how has your journey with Toastmasters enhanced your life? You can share the impact that it has had on you, maybe through an incident or any experience.
True. So, I'll tell you how it has improved, like how it has helped me improve. So, if you remember my first icebreaker speech, I'm not very sure if you have joined Toastmasters back in the day, but my first icebreaker speech, I could utter barely a couple of words. I, in fact, was a person who forgot his name when he had to speak about himself. It was just basically introducing yourself. And there were, I believe, 9 to 10 people sitting in the audience, and I was not able to utter a small word there. But now, probably like talking in front of a camera and speaking out without thinking much, right? That's one of the things which is Toastmasters. At work, right, there are several meetings we have, right? And back, if you ask me 7 or 8 years ago, I was a person who was a last bencher, trying and praying that nobody calls out my name, right? But thankfully, I no longer do that now. And table topics helped me, speak to my wife, give her quick reasons why I'm late from work and or why I'm late from Mace Springs Toastmasters meeting. But yeah, it has helped me immensely, I would say.
Thank you for sharing that with us. So, how can joining Toastmasters be of help to the corporate world? So, do you have any advice for all those who want to improve their communication and leadership skills?
True. So what I think is, if you are able to speak English, that is not the sole thing which is needed, right? You need to be able to communicate what you are thinking in a way that the others interpret what you want to convey. So that is a core essence. Now, knowing English is one bit, but then trying to convey it properly with the proper body language so that others understand the theme of what you're trying to say is very important. And that's what Toastmasters help you with. And we think that speaking one-on-one is more than sufficient. We don't need to speak to a lot of people. But eventually, there comes a time in your career where you will grow when you're able to speak in front of, let's say, a team of 10 or a team of 15, or even in your annual general meeting or some other meeting where there are like more than 20, 30 people. So Toastmasters gives you a perfect platform where you can prepare yourself for that phase of your career, not only in terms of communication, but also in terms of leadership.
Yeah, and I think this is for the viewers. Like, since you don't know that we have an educational path called Pathways, and we have a couple of levels. So if you reach like say level 3 or level 4, you will have a project where you have to practice to speak. Speak professionally to an audience. So, and I'm sure these kind of opportunities will also come at your workplace. So, very well said, Madhu, that we have to convey what we are feeling in the right manner, because sometimes at home it's very easy to convey to our family members, but when it comes to an outsider or to a stranger, all of us get tongue-tied, and we don't understand how to speak about it. So, yeah, I would really agree to whatever you said. And lastly, I would just this is a good one for all of us. So you have moved recently to the Treasury investments. So could you share some wisdom on how our viewers could plan for the future? Like, what are the best investments that we could think about when we plan for our future?
Sure. So this is a subject which is very close to my heart, because they say this is called personal finance because it's very personal to everybody. So if you ask me, it's my opinion. You can take the advice and then basically research, right? So before you even start investing, every individual who has dependents need to take first a health insurance, irrelevant of whether his employer or her employer is giving health insurance or not, right? Second, there should be a insurance plan, life insurance plan, because God forbid something happens to the earning member of the family should be able to survive without the earning member of the family. That is a core reason for having a term insurance, right? Or life insurance. Now, once these two walks of life are completed, then you should be able to save at least 6 months of your salary or 6 months of your monthly expenses into an emergency fund. So you should be always having at least 6 months of expenses in a fixed deposit or somewhere where you can immediately withdraw it and then start using it. Because no matter what happens, sometimes you have to change jobs. Sometimes there's a 2-month gap in your work. There could be a lot of things which could happen. So for that kind of things, you should have this emergency fund. And finally, then you should start thinking of investments. And if for investments, there are several things. It depends. Like if you want something stable, even if the return is less with certain amount of certainty, right? Then you should go with fixed deposits, which will give you a certain percent of interest every year and are pretty much safe because most of the times it's guaranteed by government until a certain level. Now, but then that would not beat inflation. That is the purchasing power, because as I said, inflation is nothing but how prices rise over the years. So bread probably was 100 fils back then. Now it's become 150 fils. So there is a change or price rise, right? So to tackle this, you have to ensure that you do investments and it grows as much as inflation at least, right? So fixed deposit is one aspect. Then you can invest in stock markets. You can invest in gold. And you can do all of this using either direct investments or mutual funds. It's a very broad topic. I can speak for hours on this, but then I think that's pretty much basic. Yeah, that's pretty much the basic.
Yeah, thank you so much. Would you like to say some more things on this? I thought you want to still continue.
Yeah, I can, but I don't want to extend the program more than what is intimate.
Thank you.
So if you want me to speak, yes. Specifically, I would suggest if you are investing in stocks or mutual funds, don't get into individual stocks unless you know the company, you are able to do financial analysis, you are able to do a lot of analysis in terms of management, etc. What I would suggest is investing in index funds, which would give you benefit of top 50 companies, top 100 companies in India or even in the US, and you will have very less expense by buying these, and it is easier to manage.
Thank you, and I'm sure all of us have gained a lot of knowledge and information. So please be careful when you plan your future and take these tips into consideration, because it's coming from a very, a smart man and a person who's working in the department. So now
Thank you.
we get on a lighter note, and this is the last round of questions, which is called a rapid fire round. And we all would like to know more about Madhu, so this is the way we can find out. So Madhu, what's your favorite hobby?
Watching movies, definitely.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Tea, mostly.
I thought you should say tea because of your wife. Okay. Favorite season?
Summer, because I don't like cold, so summer is my favorite season.
Okay. Favorite food?
I would say spicy chicken or mutton biryani.
Okay.
Extra spicy, probably.
So does your, since you're saying biryani, does your wife make the Hyderabadi biryani, which is very famous, the dum biryani?
She does, but then she's a vegetarian, so sometimes, yeah. So I feel bad asking her. So I try not to push her. I try to get into like places which serve good biryani, and then.
Okay. Your favorite color?
Green.
Green. Okay. And are you competitive or ambitious?
I would say I'm ambitious, because if I have to be competitive, then I have to be running 24/7, busy every time. I am ambitious, so I take my time. I have some goals and I want to achieve them. But I don't compare myself to what people are doing and how quickly I can get there, actually.
So that was the end of our interview, and thank you everyone for taking your time to come here and listen to our renowned Toastmasters who have so much to share with us. And I think we all should listen to this interview and spread it to your family and friends. Thank you everyone. See you for the next session. Bye.
Thank you, Hazel.